Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Venom issue number 33. All right, I really like that cover. That's that like total horror right there. I wish that something like that would happen and actually get me like super excited about the book. This was an actually pretty good issue. By the end of it, it kind of lost me again. In the very beginning of the book was just, but somewhere in the middle, there's some really cool stuff going on. I'm gonna try and focus more on that because if I see a light, a little light. If I see something like that, I'm going to be like, boom, hone in on that with razor focus. Anyway, but we got to talk about everything in the book. So this issue is called Agents Venom. Danny Cates is the writer, Iban Coelho on art, Jesus Abertov doing those gorgeous, sexy colors, and VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letters. Iban Coelho and Jesus Abertov doing the cover. Bunch of variant covers out there. Enjoy them all, by all means. Okay, so we start off with Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's like every single issue. Cates clearly knows who Venom is, and he's great at doing Venom. I don't think he's the greatest at doing Spider-Man, with all due respect. In fact, there was even the moment where it's like he had to do something with Spider-Man in his Doctor Strange book, and he called up Chip Zdarsky. He's like, would you mind doing a thing? Because, like, just do the thing. And Chip was like, sure, I'm going to do my thing. And it was one of the greatest Peter Parker moments ever. One of the greatest Spider-Man moments ever. In this particular case, we understand that apparently Cates' idea of who Spider-Man is just preachifying. And basically, Dylan, this entire time, it's like in his mind, he just wants to say, dude, will you please shut up? Which is the same thing that I imagine most of us were saying. Because, look, I loves me some Spider-Man, loves me some Peter Parker Spider-Man, brah, but Spidey, I think Spidey knows better than to start having lengthy conversations with somebody during whatever. Yes, he's going to want to help the kid. Yeah, I think everybody's going to want to help a kid in some way or shape or form, except Reed Richards, because F that guy. But for the most part, like, I think everybody wants to help your kid. You know what I'm saying? Peter, more than almost anybody else who's in that room, would definitely want to help the kid also, Dylan, right? Brock's son. But yeah, this like it was just way too many issues of this between the King in Black books and this the Venom books, which is mostly just a tie-in at this point. Um, yeah, no, like it was just way too much of Spider-Man preachifying to this kid, and this kid basically saying, "Could you please shut up?" Like that's oh my God, way too much. Stop. No more Spider-Man. Can we do that? No more Spider-Man. Because I mean, three pages of this, dude. 3 pages of Spider-Man, just blah 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 blah, and that's just in this issue alone. It's getting a bit tedious. But then we go to what the book is actually supposed to be, and I'm enjoying this a lot better. Eddie Brock is no longer falling. We're actually getting Eddie Brock in the Venom comic book, which, yay. You know what I'm saying? And we get him talking to Flash Thompson. He appeared at the end of the previous issue. I don't think I spoiled that he appeared in the, I don't like to do spoilers in this, in these videos, unless I warn you in advance. So I must have warned you in advance and said, piss off before I tell you this, and then I told you the thing. Anyway, Eddie Brock is talking to Flash Thompson, so the two main Venoms of the universe. Nobody else really counts, let's be honest. Yeah, this was cool. I liked this. And Flash talking about what makes a hero, what doesn't make a hero. Um, the idea that Eddie is a hero with or without. You remember what Jeff Johns used to say back in the when he started doing the Green Lantern character before he got into Blackest Night, before he even got into the Sinestro War, which was very quick in his run, right? Like he had that Spectrum War in his mind, and he's just like, I'm gonna get to that. That's what I'm about to build to. This reminded me a lot of that because he used to sit there and say, like, the thing I love most about Hal Jordan is that most heroes are only heroes when they have their superhero clothes on or whatever. Hal Jordan gets his superpowers from a ring, but Hal Jordan is a hero with or without the ring. And that's one of the things I love most about Hal Jordan. And I was like, wow, that's really deep. It really is. Because you're basically putting him on the same level as Captain America and Spider-Man, right? Like Superman, for the most part, just correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you have a different image than I do, but I think most of us imagine Superman, he's super duper ridiculously fast, just like the Flash, right? And if there's a problem, and he has to go and save the day, him taking the time to change his costume doesn't affect people that much. But in a world where you'd imagine every second counts, if he does take a second or even a split second to go and do this, to change into his costume, it's like, that's interesting. But the Green Lantern is the one who, with or without the ring, he'll still do the thing, right? Thing, ring, do your thing. Does anybody remember that cartoon from back in the day? In this particular case, they're putting Eddie on the same level. And it's interesting because every single thing that Donny Cates has been doing with this comic book has showed Brock willing to be a hero with or without the costume. And it's funny, it's a Venom book, and Venom is supposed to be Eddie with the costume, with the Clintar, the symbiote, right? Eddie's been without the symbiote more than he's been with it in this run, which is really weird, and also makes me think that this book should have been called Eddie Brock instead of Venom. I feel like calling it Venom was just the bring in. Maybe he should have been calling it Eddie Brock Venom, put a colon in there, something like that. Anyway, like we got more out of Venom in this book, even though we learned, Venom can do a whole bunch of different things. He can grow wings and stuff like that. Cute, but we learned more about Eddie in this book than, I don't know, at least as much about Eddie in these 43 issues as we've learned about Eddie in his entire, 10, it's more than 10 years, 20-year history? You know what I'm saying? 25-year history? No, 20. It's about 20 anyway. Whatever it is, it's been a freaking long time. It's been a minute, all right? Yeah. I really enjoyed this. And if anybody is going to tell Eddie about this stuff, it's going to be Flash. Captain America is that pedestal too high where it's like, oh, you're Captain America, you have to tell me this stuff. And I bet you tell everybody this stuff. Flash Thompson wouldn't. Flash Thompson wouldn't do that stuff. In fact, I almost wish that he would have said something about, when his dark past or whatnot. If he would have talked about, the things I used to do to this kid, Peter Parker. Because I don't know if in this he remembers that he shouldn't, because he died not knowing who Peter was, if I remember correctly, back in the end of Slott's run, right? On Spider-Man. Anyway, whether we recognize or not, just bringing up the idea that he used to bully Peter Parker, who turned out to be a really good kid, but yeah, he probably made it worse for Parker. His uncle just died, and I treat him like crap. That's pretty dark past. You don't have to be like murdering kids in freaking Viet Cong villages to be considered a good guy or a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just the way that you acted when you were a kid, because not all of us were bad when we were kids, But I really like this. By the way, I'm only on like the first 3, 4, I think I'm on like the 5th page. So let's just try and skip this ahead a little bit. A whole lot more stuff happens in here. I'm going to have to get into a spoiler later on in this book. And some of these freaking things that's going on, man. What the hell? Like some of these, we got a Daniel Warren Johnson, Beta Ray Bill thing coming up. What? Okay, interested. I actually expected Cates to be on this. This looks super interesting. Demon Days X-Men #1. What's this? What? And it's about time. It's about time. And Philip Kennedy Johnson's going to be on it, doing the Xenomorphs. Yeah, color me impressed. And then the King in Black, the thrilling ending stuff and stuff like that. And yeah, 34. 34 is supposed to be the final issue. That's the next issue of Venom. See, so there's a lot going on. And it's like, well, what the hell? Now, it's great to see Flash, because this is a Venom comic book. This is where we get away with it. Even an anti-Venom is still a Venom. So seeing Flash run off and do the things that he's doing and whatnot, it's like, okay, cool. Eddie Brock pretty much just has his feet planted the entire time. Does he actually move? Maybe. Maybe he moves. I don't actually see his feet move. His feet are just pretty much firmly planted the entire time, except when he walks through that portal. You know what I'm saying? But aside from that, then he's just like, oh, here's a new place to plant my feet. Let me get over there. Boop, okay, feet firmly planted. Let's go. I don't know, but we can get away with this being mostly a Flash comic book because he is technically a Venom. And the cover of the book, in case nobody noticed, ba-ding, so that works. The whole thing works, and I dug on this. Flash getting jacked up. At first, it's like, did he just have his arm removed? I'm like, 1, it's a Donny Cates book. 2, he'll get better. He'll heal. Because, anti-Venom. Hello. So, all of it. It worked. It worked really well. Seeing this being, this Codex universe being mostly ectoplasmic in some regards, awesome. By the time you get to the end, see, these I'm going to get into a little bit of spoiler territory, and I might wind up slipping and saying something. So if you didn't read the book yet, go get the book. Mind you, I've been some people saying I'm hateful of the book. I'm not hateful of the book. I'm in love with comic books, and I want to see them at their best. And Donny Cates is hands down one of the best freaking comic book writers alive and currently practicing, the art of comic book crafting to this day. And it's really frustrating to see when he just kind of does stuff that's really lazy, because he knows better, and I know that he knows better. I know that he knows a lot better. So it's frustrating to see things just kind of, I'm just going to do this stuff. The fans will forgive me. This fan doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of any individual. I'm a fan of the books. That's what I'm a fan of. So that's what I review. I'm not here to review anybody or anything else. It's interesting to see the way that the thing with the dragon at the end. Since everything in these King in Black books was about the dragons, like the Celestials were just a prop. Nothing happened with the Celestials except at one point they like turned their head. What was that, the previous issue of King in Black? Regardless. Also seeing the stuff that's happening above and below. It's like, again, with the skip scenes, with Donnie just missing out on things. It's like, here's everybody, including Peter, talking to freaking, what's his face? Brock's kid, Dylan. There we go, Dylan Brock. I'm just like, we're going to take care. I just want to hurt things. And the next thing you know, they've already freed everybody. Thor is suddenly not being, stabbed through the chest and whatnot. And it's like, I know that this is in tie-in with, whatever, but it's like, you went from these two points and we just skipped over all the cool stuff. And even in the King in Black books, I didn't see a lot of the cool stuff. I didn't see that. I just saw, oh yeah, hey, here you go. Oh, we get from here, we get to there. Remember, I kept on talking in the King in Black books. Hey, they're just skipping scenes. So when we see scenes skipped, it's like, I don't need a whole lot of action in my books, but if everything is based around this action, could we maybe get a little bit of the action? I mean, I would like to see some of it. Wouldn't you? So we see a lot, and I'm going to show you the last page. This is where we get into real spoiler territory, because the last issue, boom, Cates and Stegman said this is the last issue, which is weird since Coelho does this issue, but whatever. And then we see this, and what's he say on top? Why does this feel so familiar? So he takes over Rex's body. Okay, I'm going to need an explanation why he's able to take over Rex's body, because I understand that he was trying to get the Grendel the whole time, but I mean, with the stuff and the thing. But I'm going to need to know exactly why that was able to happen. I don't want that to just be one of those things where it's like, yeah, it happened because it's really important to the story. F your story, I want the continuity. God damn it. Story means nothing without continuity. It's a franchise book. This company's been in existence for a while. This character's been in existence, tied in with a whole bunch of characters, been in existence for like 80-something years in some cases. Yeah, no, I'm going to need to see a little continuity. All right? At least within your own story, for crying out loud. Anyway, with characters that you created, yeah. But this bothers me. Because after this scene happened, in the first issue of Venom, King in Black, what happened? We had an entire issue and a half of this guy falling. We've only got one more issue to go. Please do not make the final issue of this mother fathead just falling and then be like, this book will continue in this book where Eddie will still be falling. Like, please don't do that to me. Like, I see this and I'm like, this is so bad. This is so bad. You ever seen that episode of Seinfeld? Even if you haven't, you'll still know this feeling. Somebody says something really witty to you and you're just like, and just got to eat it and walk away, right? So it happens. Even to somebody, like witty as hell from New Jersey like me, who's just everything is trash talking. You know what I'm saying? Everything is trash talking until it's not. But somebody says something to you, just like, that was really good, damn. And then you're like walking home or you're driving home or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, that's what I should have said. Like, crap, man. It's just like, So I'm hoping that Eddie being held up like this, like in the reverse Mr. Sinister to Sabretooth thing back in like, what issue was that? Was that like 218 of X-Men? Under Claremont? Whatever issue that was. And he's just like, he's backwards and Null's behind him is like, this feels familiar. He better be like, this does feel familiar. What did I say I was going to say when this happened? Like, he better have a good comeback. He better have something. He better be able to like, oh yeah. He better be able to do something, man. Because like I'm saying, you ever get beat in a wrestling match, right? Or in a kata, in a kumite. You know what I'm saying? You ever be in the middle of a freaking sparring session or whatever, and somebody gets a good shot on you, just like, I should have been able to telegraph that. It's messed up. Next time I see that happen, I'm going to be ready for his ass, right? If Eddie isn't prepared for this, if Eddie doesn't have something in his pocket, I know he's just wearing shorts, he's wearing his boxers, but nonetheless, he better have like a little hidden key pocket in there, something like that. He better be able to pull something out his ass, okay, wherever it takes. He better be like, this is what I should have done. Now here's my opportunity. That's what I want to see. Anyway, guys, this was still a really fun book. I enjoyed seeing this. I enjoyed seeing the character progression. I enjoyed seeing the love of the characters. Like, it was really the love of Flash and the love of Eddie in this that really pushed this comic book forward to be, like, to in my mind, feel like a good, solid read. You know what I'm saying? There's still a bunch of the jumpy stuff, but that really, like, that was a shining light that I really needed to see in these books. It's like, Donnie, one of the best things about your work is that you clearly know and care about these characters. And I could say that with Venom 1,000 times more. Well, at least 290 times more than Thor. All right? Clearly, evidently, demonstrably, dully. Anyway, duly. So when I see Donnie doing that with the Venom characters, these characters who he grew up with, who he learned to read with, for crying out loud, it makes me happy. It genuinely makes me happy in my soul to see the characters getting that kind of love. I mean, it's a Venom comic book, for crying out loud. That's what we should be doing. The heroes are going to run into some problems, and they solve the problems. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. It's like, we have to remember, it's not just the idea of, because sometimes we're going to give excuses to the people who write or draw the comic books, whatever, where it's like, oh, well, they got into a problem, so how many ways can you fix the problem? Well, I don't know. How many problems can you run into? Because the same person that's supposed to figure out a clever way out of the problem is the same person who figured out the problem in the first place. So if you didn't have a good, like, who puts on a pair of handcuffs on themselves and doesn't know how to get themselves out of it? You know what I'm saying? Who does a magic trick where you go inside of a big milk jar or wherever and you don't know how to get out? People who are soon to die. You know what I'm saying? So it's the idea, like, it's the whole return. You put yourself in this situation. You put your heroes in this situation. This is why we think about the end before we think about the beginning. You have to know the destination. Nobody sits here and says, okay, I am here in my apartment or in my home. Where am I going? No, you say, I got to go to the store, or I got to go to grandma's house, over the river and through the hills, right? I got to go to a hole in the hill, a hole in the hole in the ground that lived. I need to go to a hole in the ground. I need to go to the Shire. You know what I'm saying? Brandywine, whatever. I need to go to the. You always know the destination, and then you think now, because you already know where you are. The question is the destination. All right, you have to know the destination, including in a book or a TV show or anything that you're writing, anything that you're creating. You always start thinking about, what is the destination? That's when you suddenly write the cool stuff. How am I going to get there? That's what matters. You always start with the ending. And every single one of the greats will tell you, or could have told you if they were still alive, that that's how you do things. Otherwise, why do you start from the beginning? No. The person who starts from the beginning is the reader. I don't need the writer to be starting from the freaking beginning. So no, if you don't have a clever escape for something, then don't do the trap. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Anyway, guys, I'm out. I'm out. Stop tying people to train tracks without knowing how they're going to escape the freaking train tracks, all right? Jeez, it's simple. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you all later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.